Alright everybody, this is the canvas that we're going to be painting on in this video. It is a 8 by 16 inch canvas. It has already been toned with acrylic paint. The color that I used for that, as always, was raw sienna, and I did it a while ago actually, so it is totally dry. Now the reason I mention that is because what I don't want to do is put the tonal layer on and then 30 minutes later come back to it when it seems dry and then start painting oil paint on top of it. That can cause problems, so I like to wait at least 48 hours for the acrylic tonal layer to dry before painting on it. But like I said, this one is ready to go, so we're going to start putting our sketch on. The composition I have in mind is another seascape, but for a while now I've wanted to feature a long view of a wave coming in. Let's get into it. Now I know it looks messy, it's really hard to see what's going on, like there's just scribbles everywhere, but it's important for whoever's painting it to be able to see it in their imaginations as they're putting it on. So for me, I look at this, and because I'm the one that did it, I can see it probably a little bit better than you guys. However, something came up I want to point out to you. Here's the sky back here. This is going to be a light point where there's going to be less clouds and more light coming through. This here is a background ridge line. It's going to be very faint and obscure, but it's back there. And then here we have the main attraction, the wave, with that light shining through this area here. And then we have a rock in the water here. And then we have just, you know, the roiling water in the foreground right here, kind of like just, you know, white water, etc. However, it is missing something. It's got a heavy rock over here, and over here we just have a void of water. To balance out the composition, I know it needs another rock right here, just a smaller one, because we want to try to lead the viewer's eye into the painting and keep them, you know, looking at a specific area, which will be the focal point. And for me, that area is going to be right here. I want to lead the viewer's eye in right here. So to do that, I'm going to have this water creating vectors leading in. Same with over here, it's going to be leading in like this. We got this line that is coming down like this of the ridge. It's going to, you see where it's pointing? It's pointing right there. And then same with right here. We got line coming in there. Where's that ridge line pointing? It's pointing right here. And then we have this rock pointing up here as well, leading you in there. Everything is just kind of drawing your eye into this area. But if the viewer is starting over here and they're coming in, I want to keep this area balanced so that it doesn't create an eyesore, where you're like, there's a lot going on over here, there's a big heavy boulder, it's just weighing really heavy over here, but over here there's no rocks, it's just kind of an empty area. And I don't want that to be a pitfall for the viewer, where they're looking at it and they're like, uh-oh, there's an imbalance right there, and it distracts them from the painting as a whole, and it distracts their eye from coming in here to this area. So to avoid that, I'm just going to simply put a boulder right in here. this is my palette where I mix paint. You can see I have my paint slew out here. That is where I put my leftover paint that I didn't use in the last painting session, so that I can stick this in the freezer and use it later. So I got this up here. Any color that I don't have in here, I will put onto the palette. Somewhere off to the side, I got some titanium white here. And I can take colors. You can see I already grabbed some from up in here and mix them up. Right in here we got sky blue, burnt umber, and titanium white. I'm going to grab some yellow ochre over here and mix it in. Now I don't want to create green, so to avoid that, I'm going to take some more of this umber, this burnt umber, mix it in, and I want a nice warm gray. Make sure to get enough titanium white to lift the value. I think that's a good color. I'm going to bring that up to the sky and start laying it down, see how it works. Basically, I'm starting with what's furthest away and then painting my way forward in the painting. That way I feel like I can get a better control of making sure I get my values correct, which is a fancy way of saying making sure that the lights and darks work well together. Now with a color very similar to this background sky color, I'm going to put in this background ridge. I think I want to make it just a little bit darker. Now, combining these two colors I've just put on, Viridian Hue and Phthalo Blue, creates a very, very, very dark color. So I'm going to use that for my darkest darks in the water. But now, I'm going to use this color to start painting the water. Better come up here and paint that translucent water before I get ahead of myself. So right up in here in my paint slew, I got a little bit of this yellow-green that I'm adding into my Viridian Hue, which is right here, and also a little bit of that Phthalo Blue right here. And then also I grabbed some of my titanium white over here and brought it up here, so I'm able to have a mixing area to get the right color mixed. So I can see the other colors I've mixed over here, and I remember, you know, the mixtures that I've already made. So I know how light to make it, how green to make it, all of that, because I have it all right here. So I'm going to grab some more of that yellow-green, bring it up here, add some titanium white. I want to add a little bit of the blue into it as well. Cool it down just a little bit. We'll try this color out. See how we like it. That's pretty good. I think I want to add a little bit more of the green into it. So I'm going to grab some more of that yellow-green. And we'll try this. I like that. So over here I have burnt sienna, and over here is my phthalo blue. If I combine the two, just like that, it creates a very, very dark color that will appear black. That is the color that I'm going to use to block in my rocks. Alright, our first layer of paint has been applied. You can see it's very loose, very basic. There's going to be a lot changed on this first layer as we move forward. However, this is just to set the stage for the rendering process, which is when I come back in and I start adding a little bit more definition to different parts and getting things the way I want it, and then building up the detail. So step one, check, complete. Let's move on to the rendering process. going to grab some titanium white, bring that over here. It's a little bit thick, so I'm going to add some linseed oil to it to help the flow. Grab some Phthalo Blue. Also, I want to come over here and grab a little bit of burnt Sienna. Grab some more blue, that Phthalo Blue. And I have mixed a water shadow color. I'm going to add some more titanium white to my paint mixture there.